Pardon me? Yes, I will get that.
All right, you guys ready? Okay, everybody, we will call this meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Stepanovich,
Here.
Mr. Diakopoulos,
Here.
Mr. Olszewski,
Here.
Mr. Lemak,
Here.
Mrs. Ling,
Present.
Mr. Dice,
Here.
Mr. McKenna, Mayor Sinan.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Nestico, I believe we do have one unlisted amendment this evening.
Yes, we could add item 13B, which would be a library board appointment. I will look up the term and provide that for the motion when we get to that item on the agenda.
Okay, perfect, thank you. That brings us to our consent calendar items. Any questions or concerns about the consent calendar items?
No?
Hearing none, can I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve consent calendar items A through C.
Second.
Thank you, Jamie and Matt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it is unanimous. That brings us to comments by the mayor. Mr. Nestico?
Yes, and I think we will be able to bring up the mayor's slides from the back room. Make sure that I can be heard here. Yep, there we go. So the first item is Tuesdays at Townsend. Free live performances in the park from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. You can see the dates listed there on the left side. The next date is July 22nd. We also have August 5th and the 19th, and that's at Townsend Park. If there are any questions, contact the rec department or visit the webpage at murraysvilleparecreation.com. The next item is the farmers market, live music, weekly food trucks, and local vendors. That is every Thursday from 3 to 7 p.m. That goes all the way through September 25th, and that's at 3235 Sardis Road, there where the Murraysville Fire Department is. The next item is the splash pad is now open. I think anybody in the community using the splash pad probably knows that by now, but it is open daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. at MCP. The next item is a advertisement that we are hiring for a Public Works laborer. We are seeking applicants for a qualified position within the Public Works Department. For more information, please go to the Murraysville website or reach out to the municipality for more information. The application period is open right now, so we have received some applications and certainly open to receiving more and finding a quality laborer to fill the position there in the Public Works Department. And then lastly, we did re-implement our Code Enforcement Board of Appeals, and we are looking for individuals who are interested in serving on that board. Anybody that is interested in serving can submit a letter of interest, an application, or a resume, or any combination of those. Submit them to the municipality. We will review them and conduct interviews to appoint people to the Code Appeals Board. So that is all for the mayor's report for this evening.
Okay, awesome, thank you. Any comments by the chief administrator?
I guess so. Just a few, just to kind of keep everybody in the loop on a few items. One is a hot topic item that we have here in the municipality with regard to solicitation. We've gotten a number of calls and complaints about the door-to-door solicitation that takes place in the municipality. Some of it is coming from a pest control company. Specifically, one of those companies is Moxie, but there are others as well. We just approved a solicitation permit for Fox Pest Control. So they did go through the proper approval process to get a permit to be able to solicit in the municipality. They were provided a copy of the Do Not Knock list. which is on our website. We direct them to that. We provide them a copy as well. But we have had difficulty with some of these companies. Like I said, one of them a specific pest control company, which are doing door-to-door canvassing. They are knocking on doors they are not supposed to be knocking on, folks that are on the do not knock list. But unfortunately, there's not much that we can do unless we get a report of somebody actively doing it, and we can get the police or code enforcement out there. The issue that we face, as you could imagine, most of the community that doesn't want someone knocking at their door is also very quick to be dismissive and tell them, they don't have a permit or they're not supposed to be knocking. They kind of shoo them away, which makes sense and is to be expected. But unfortunately, unless we know about the individual that's there knocking on the door, our hands are somewhat tied. We've tried to reach out to that specific company to address it. We really can't get through to them. It's one of those companies that operate in multiple cities, and there really is no main point of contact. So I mention all of that so that the community is aware we are having some trouble enforcing against the solicitors that don't get a permit because we have to try to track them down in some fashion. So if somebody is knocking at your door and they shouldn't be, I think we recognize that you don't want them there. You want to kind of get them away and get them off of your porch and off of your property. But if you're able to obtain any information, a name, ask them for a permit, anything like that, and give us a call right away, it will help to try to track them down and enforce. So that is one hot topic that we're having a little bit of difficulty with. So that's a notice to the community. Other than that, one other item to mention. There is going to be a bike race taking place that will come through the municipality in September. The date is Sunday, September 21st, 2025. This race is called the GFNY race, the Grand Fondo New York race, and it's a company that conducts races all throughout the country and actually all throughout the world. They came to the municipality asking for approval to go down Salzburg Road. They would come off of Logan's Ferry, which is the part of Logan's Ferry north of 286 there, so they'd only be on that slightly, and then come down Salzburg Road 286 into the next community. And the race is, I think, an 80-mile race, so there's only a small segment of the race that's taking place in Murraysville. They are going to have a few officers stay at the intersection at Ashball and Salzburg Road because that is a four-way stop there. They are paying for that cost. It's no cost to the municipality for the overtime for those officers. They provided a certificate of liability insurance. We don't really have any way to kind of prevent them from doing the race here. It is a very professionally run organization. If you go to their website, which I believe is gfny.com, you'll see that they conduct these type of races all over. The race is being sponsored through Visit Monroeville, and there are quite a few other corporate sponsors as well. But that is taking place Sunday, September 21st. So just wanted to make the community aware that that morning there may be some difficulty with traffic flow on Salzburg Road because the bikes will be coming through. They're not closing any roads. Nothing's going to be blocked. The race does have quite a few volunteers that they hire to man intersections where there are turns or traffic control devices, things like that. But through Murraysville, there's really not much. We kind of, in some ways, did our best to keep them off of the municipal roads simply because it's just difficulty to kind of accommodate. So that's just kind of a notice to council. There's no cost to the municipality. They'll be coming through on Sunday, September 21st, down Salzburg Road and into Washington Township and all around Upper Lower Borough, Plum, Monroeville. So just making a notice there to council. And I believe that's it for this month.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure. If there are any questions about either of those items, I'm certainly happy to answer.
Yeah, I have a quick question about it. With the solicitation, are they informed, the solicitors, when they're given a permit to not, obviously, the do not knock list, but if somebody's not on the do not knock list and there's a no solicitation sign or a no trespassing sign on their premises, are they informed at that time not to knock?
We advise them of that from the beginning. So when they get a permit, they have to provide their license. There's a background check that's done. we provide them a copy of the do not knock list, and we also tell them if there are any postings, you're not to be trespassing on any property where you're uninvited or unwelcome. So we tell them that, but certainly that's in some ways a private matter that we don't have much control over. So if those folks do call, we tell them, please get on the list. That way they have it specifically in writing in hand that is a property on the list. Now we've had issues with individuals following the list, and that's a separate matter, but that does occur.
So anyone who receives a permit is required to wear it, is that correct? On their person and have it, the
Displayed.
ability to present it to anybody that asks, just so the residents know that they can say, do you have a permit? And if not, who should they be calling? Should they be calling the municipality or should they be calling the police?
Well, if there is somebody knocking at their door that they want to report something, they should contact the police. They can dial 911, they can dial the non-emergency number. If they want to get on the do not knock list, bless you, obviously that's a separate matter. They can do that through the municipality. They don't go through the police for that. So the staff administers the list on this side of the building administratively, but if they have somebody on their porch that shouldn't be there, somebody trespassing, somebody knocking when they're on the list, they should notify the police. That's the best method of enforcement. Otherwise, the alternative is if they wait until business hours and call us, later on or the next day, our hands are somewhat tied trying to track people down. And we've had community members send us Ring doorbell footage and other things. The problem is, trying to track somebody down, it's not easy because we don't know who they are, what company they're with, and makes it.
I just wanted the community to know what the right protocol was.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the best approach.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
Okay, awesome, thank you. That brings us to community input. Let's see, anyone has signed up?
I didn't sign up, but I'd like to input.
Oh, absolutely, sir. We'll just start with the list and then you can come up next. Mr. Bruce Kaufman, and please just state your name and address for the minutes. Thank you.
Bruce Kaufman, I live at 5570 Old William Penn.
Thank you, sir.
And this is my wife Phyllis, and I've been a resident for close to 50 years. We experienced a flood a month ago, as I'm sure you're aware. I spoke to Michael a couple weeks ago. It was a good conversation. Not as encouraging as I thought he was when he said splash pad, he was talking about my house. With that said, I built all those houses there in 1976. When I had the engineering done on houses, we were 8 feet above the 100-year floodplain at the time. And we had absolutely zero experience with even water rising through about 2003. And I believe at Trafford Road in 22, the stream was a couple things. One, I believe it was turned at that time. But in addition, and I sent all of you pictures and a video of just by Griff's Bridge now, and that continues all the ways down. There's artificial islands, and you can see the debris. It's a natural dam right now. And 2009, we experienced a flood. We've had water rising. And I'm just, like I said, I reached out to Michael because I have Jill Cooper's office is working on this. They're trying to get the EPA. I spoke to Senator McCormick's office. They sent me a release for the Army Corps of Engineers. And we're just trying to come up with a solution of how do you clear, number one, the debris, and how do you get rid of these false islands? They weren't there when I built these houses. And so I figured I should talk to the council and see what you folks, what kind of input we can get from you.
No.
Or at least make you aware.
No, thanks for making us aware, absolutely. I'm I'm trying to think. I know with streams, we're not allowed to touch them. That's all the DEP. However, the one thing we are looking into in this municipality that is within our purview and I think very important is stormwater, because a lot of the reason why I think you had said whenever you built it, you thought you were in a 100-year no
8
floods.
feet above the 100.
Yeah, yeah. Millville probably thought the same thing, but without good stormwater runoff, anything can end up underwater. So I would say that's something we're definitely looking into, just to make sure we're caught up on that, make sure all of our, whatever you want to call them, underground stormwater pipes and all of our aqueducts are properly cleaned. So, Michael, that's definitely something we've been talking about. But does hearing stuff like this, is there anything else we can look into or do?
Yes, so we've started that process. That's why the conversation probably wasn't much of an encouraging one.
Yeah.
It was a good
As-
conversation.
Well, that's good. It's just a difficult one. I think that, especially in that location, you're talking about a floodplain area, a lot of changes to the highway, as we all know, over the last, couple decades, and it's increased, we believe it's probably increased the water flow down there. So we have had, we've started having meetings with Representative Cooper's office, the DEP, County Department of Public Safety, Conservation District. We have another meeting coming up with the DEP and Representative Cooper's office, I think in early August. It's not scheduled yet, but it's going to take place sometime around then. And that meeting is hopefully, it's for us to kind of gather information on what, if anything, should we be looking at? Are there studies that need to be done? What sort of, we're kind of at the very beginning stages of trying to assess this. We know that there's flooding. There are issues occurring, as we all read about, but where do we start? And I think that's what we're trying to gather from the DEP is where do we start the process of analyzing, is there an issue? If so, where is it occurring? Export did their flood control project 10 years ago or so. There's feedback from the community, whether that's improved or harmed things in Murraysville downstream. It's hard to say. And so that's all part of, I guess, what we're trying to evaluate now is get some feedback from the DEP. What do we need to do to maybe conduct a study or assess the situation? And then from there, move forward to try to, build out a project if there's one to be had. And certainly look at funding opportunities along the way. But I think we're at the very beginning stages of that. As I say, that's not the most encouraging thing as far as someone who's currently living in a situation that's being flooded and has the issues. But just to go in there in the short term and try to dredge the creek is probably not realistic. I think that's, it may not get us to where we need to go. That's been a topic of discussion in some of those meetings. And then to go in there and actually conduct a project. Anything that we dig down underwater, as you mentioned, requires DEP permitting, and I think a short-term fix is probably not in the cards. I think we need to probably evaluate what is the situation, and maybe there are short-term fixes, but I think we need to kind of have an evaluation first.
The first step is going to be an engineer is going to have to figure out what we can do, the different options, cost options, and again, DEP, but everything we can do to force the issue is, I think, kind of the main thing right now. And to hear that there's meetings set up already with staff and Jill Cooper's office, we're at least pushing this forward, because that's really what it comes down to is staying on it and saying, hey, let's get this done.
It's, again, it's that debris field.
I know what you mean. I mean, you see it, any stream in Murraysville, it's there somewhere. Yeah.
Having come out of the construction industry, we just sit there and go, oh, well, why can't we just bring a backhoe down there and take it out? And I understand the EPA and everything else. And I just wanted to address it here so that everybody's aware.
Absolutely.
Which I assumed you were.
No, thank you, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. That brings us to, sir, I believe you said you had a comment? And please just state your name and address for the minutes. Thank you.
Eric Vandevenne. I am a longtime resident of Murraysville, or at least I grew up here, moved out. I just bought a place at 3950 Donnet Drive. I am Pia and Teo Vandevenne's son, if any of you know those names. And I'm here to talk about the parks, and specifically Friends of Murraysville Parks, which is doing such a good job maintaining the quality of these parks. I'm not sure if this is more appropriate for a future meeting, because I haven't been to one of these board meetings before, having been a full-time resident here for the past 20 years for only a week in Murraysville. But what I'd like to do is talk about funding for Friends of Murraysville Parks, because they have a large amount of volunteers. In 2024, they had 941 hours of volunteer work. In addition, my mom is a magistrate kid, somebody that has community service. She's a coordinator for that, and so there's an additional 248 hours of magistrate kid hours working in these parks. And they're looking for funding for tools, supplies, and especially herbicides. It's not a very large number compared to the number of hours being worked in the park, but it's beyond what they are receiving in donations. It's one of these things that's a force multiplier when you can give people the right tools if they're spending the hours working. I don't know if it makes sense to get testimonials from people that are familiar with these parks, but the Murraysville parks are unusual in quality relative to what's around us. We should take advantage of that. It attracts people, it brings people through the community, helps the businesses. I think a number of $5,000 or $10,000, if Murraysville can provide that to these volunteers, would go a long way in making sure that these parks stay in their pristine condition relative to the other greenery we see in neighboring communities. Okay. That's it.
No, thank you so much. Could you give your contact information to Mr. Nestico?
Yeah,
And
sure.
we'll get in touch?
Yeah, my mom is deaf as I don't know what else is deaf, but yeah, she's deaf as a quail. That's what they say in Dutch. Cell phone is 412?
You don't have to say that live. You can just
Okay.
say that there.
I was just thinking about that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Okay, for the good of the order, would anyone else like to give comment? Okay. That brings us to our liaison comments and committee reports. We will go to Jason.
The library is meeting this Thursday.
Awesome. Carl?
There was a meeting on June 19th of the Medic One, and in particular, one of the additions to the mission statement is the inclusion of some municipalities that were heretofore not included, which they're servicing: Salzburg, Avonmore, Loyalhanna, and Bell Township, which is a bit of an administrative, but the point is they are now being serviced by Medic One. Also, it was discussed in public relations that requests for donations will be made. Some of the companies which are being solicited are Suncrest Homes, Valley Honda, Myers Drilling, and Walmart, in addition to Giant Eagle Sheets and others. And I would say to anyone in the audience or among the council members here, if they can think of someone who could help with donations to Medic One, that would be very much appreciated.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's it.
Jamie?
Okay, so the Planning Commission had a meeting a week ago today, and there was a public hearing for Reagan Ridge rezoning, which was asking to rezone R3 high density to business. There was some concern. A resident who lives on Wheatland Circle did show up concerned because this property that's requesting the rezoning would abut his existing residential property. Some of the property is considered buildable, some of the property is considered not buildable. So there was also some discussion on possibly just rezoning the buildable area, which does not abut the residential property and is actually some distance away, but Planning Commission recommended tabling that until more information was provided. There was another public hearing for Drake's Car Wash, which was a previous car wash that was before us that we had approved. The difference is they would have less vacuum spaces and there was no canopy. And there was some objection raised by Planning Commission because the ordinance does require all mechanical equipment to be enclosed. So they're going to be revamping that and coming back. Then there was some discussion and recommendation for Petrakis subdivision on Jones Farm Court. And that was taking 2 parcels and creating a third from the existing 2 parcels. It is zoned RR. Planning Commission recommended forwarding this onto onto us. There was another discussion and recommendation for Hughes Minor subdivision on Chisnell Lane, which is also RR rural residential, which is being moved on to us as well. Then there was, again, a discussion for Compton subdivision on Mare Drive, which is a minor subdivision, which is R2 medium density. They said they were shocked that there was enough property there to do that, but apparently there is, and they recommended approval and moving on to council. Then there was a discussion for SP2-25, a communications tower on 4900 Lasher Court for preliminary and final development. The lightning rod is not to exceed 120 feet, and they're asking for several waivers because of what it is that's being built there on the property, that there's not going to be any noise or hydrogeologic or anything like that. So that's all going to be pushed through eventually to us, and that's it. I think I covered everything. Sorry. Next meeting next month, sure.
Awesome. Matt?
Mine be substantially shorter than that.
I'm sorry, I had to cover everything.
The EAC met on June 24th, discussed the Drake's Car Wash, and the only request that was really made was after the species on the trees were planted below the power lines, they exceeded 50 feet. So a smaller growing native tree is requested in those areas. Next meeting is July 29th.
Awesome. Thank you. Eli?
Mine's going to be even shorter. But the pension committee, its next scheduled meeting for the quarter is on August 14th. We'll provide an update, but the preliminary report does show, positive growth and gains year to date. So we'll get more details at the follow-up.
Awesome. Thank you. FTMSA meets this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the plant. That brings us to our workshop items this evening. We're going to start with 9A, which is a discussion of Bells Across Pennsylvania initiative. Michael?
Yes, so we have Dawn Lamuth here. She's a director with Go Laurel Highlands. She is the Westmoreland County advisor for the America 250 celebration that will be taking place throughout the area, the county, and the country. She can give a little bit of a background of what this is. We can bring her up to the mic, but I will just advise council. I apologize to the council and the public and anybody tuning in. We are still down from being able to send our documents over to the screen here to be viewed. We'll be able to view them with the overhead camera there by the podium, but I can't drag all the documents over. So council has in front of them two different slideshows that are printed out. This first one is for the Bells Across PA initiative. And again, I'm sure Dawn will do a much better job of explaining, but this is an initiative to put bells, one in each of the 67 counties. It sounds like Westmoreland County already has one designated location, but they were hoping to have a second one here in Murraysville. And so she will maybe give a little bit of a rundown, if that's okay, on what the project is. We think that there's a very suitable location down at the Roberts Trailhead, and so it would be there for the next year or so during the celebration. And if it's okay, Dawn, I'll turn it over to you for a little bit more background.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm organizing a lot of the activities, projects, and events for Westmoreland County for America's semi-quincentennial, which is in 2026. So the Bells Across PA program is part of the statewide coalition, America's 250 PA, and they're placing, I don't know if you are familiar with the dinosaur project that they did in Pittsburgh, where they made a bunch of different themes and painted the dinosaurs. So the first bell in Westmoreland is on the third slide, and that's going to be at the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. That bell will be a glass mosaic, and it's about 90% done. It's going to actually be, thank you, Michael. It's going to be done and unveiled on August 10th. And that will be in the front courtyard garden of the Westmoreland Museum of American Art. The second bell was a little bit of a surprise. It was actually a project that was championed by PA Rep. Jill Cooper. She was hoping to get a bell for Murraysville, and lo and behold, First Energy decided they would like to put 4 bells in the state and chose Westmoreland as a county for one of their sponsored bells. So we don't have to sponsor it or pay for this bell in any way. It's being gifted to us by First Energy. So appropriately, we thought the theme would be more energy in Westmoreland, and of course feature the Haymaker commercial gas well, but also expand that to show the other sources of energy in the county, which would be coal, solar, hydropower, and wind power. So the artist that's been selected, we had a call for artists and had submissions, and the Westmoreland 250 committee met and chose the artist, and it's a very well-known Westmoreland artist, Stacy Pridnowski. She's a very, very talented woman, and her proposal is the 4th slide. So that's kind of a rough sketch. I think her concept will be very unique because it will wrap around the entire bell, kind of like a landscape painting. So she is featuring the Haymaker gas well, coal power, and with a tribute to coal miners, as well as a thriving little village, and recapturing the natural land with a garden and the bike trails. So then the next slide will show you the proposed location. It's along the Westmoreland Heritage Trail. I have met with the Westmoreland Heritage Trail Board of Directors, and they unanimously approved support of the bell. But the location that we've chosen is actually on Murraysville-owned property. So it's just along the trail, but we were thinking that a more accessible spot for people who would be in wheelchairs or strollers would be along the sidewalk there. So that's not actually a bell, that's just a little icon of a bell. So we were thinking right there would be a nice spot for it. And then we could utilize the kiosk to share some information about the artist and the project as well. So this will be something that people will travel to. I hope it will be a travel destination. People from all over the state will come. I'm sure there will be some people that are going to try to visit all 67 bells throughout the state. So this location is actually the trailhead right along Route 22. And so it's circled on the map on the next page. Now, the Westmoreland Heritage Trail Association, they have proposed that they would help the Public Works, if they wanted it, to design a round cement platform for the bell so that you wouldn't have to drill into the sidewalk there. And that's really everything about the bell. I think as far as a workshop item, we need to know if you approve the location, as well as if you would be interested in owning the bell. Somebody has to own it. There's a contract that has to be signed by the owner. And so that would be something we would need to do before we can have the bell delivered. So that would be something to decide. And then the other thing I wanted to ask permission is to announce the artist selection and the location at your summer concert event on August 9th. I thought that would be a nice community event to announce her selection.
The cost of the bell?
So the cost to you, aside from Public Works helping to secure it to whatever stand or whatever you decide it should go on, or they decide it should go on, would be zero.
Oh.
So the bells are actually, the cost of the bell is $10,000, but First Energy is footing that bill. And within that $10,000, it also includes, and that might be something else to just note, if a nonprofit is hosting the bell, they can get a $1,000 honorarium. So if we said that the Westmoreland Heritage Trail Association is the quote-unquote host of the bell, then they could get a little honorarium for that. And then the artist gets an honorarium of
Is the bell static, or does it have any
It doesn't ring. It's just fiberglass. Yeah, it doesn't ring. But I do have bells. I have cowbells if you would like them for any of your races. I do have those, which I will get out to you. Yes.
What's the size and weight?
So the bell itself is 3 feet tall and it's on a 1-foot stand. And I think the proposed cement stand that they're thinking would probably be 6 to 12 inches. So it would stand about this high. It's kind of a nice photo op.
Yeah.
And it will be 360, so the painting will be all the way around. And then Stacy has proposed, the base of it is sort of a square base. So she has proposed decorating the base as well, so it's also aesthetically pleasing.
Does it need to be roped off at all so nobody's touching it or playing around with it?
No, it's going to be super duper sealed, so it's fine. Little fingers, peanut butter, whatever, will be fine. And it doesn't have to be covered, it'll be weatherproof. Now, the exhibit for America's 250 has to be up from January 1st, 26 to December 31st, 26, so for that full year. After that, you can keep it. It can stay up forever if you want it, if you own it.
Okay. I mean, it sounds wonderful to me. Council, thoughts?
Yeah.
No, I love going up to Erie and looking at all their frogs that they have there. So, that sounds cool. One question with the location. So I'm sure you guys have probably already worked with the municipality to ensure that any safety vehicles that have to get through there can get through with where that's.
Yeah, this is kind of in a walking area. Bikes go through there as well, but there's plenty of room.
Okay.
And as Dawn had mentioned, really the big thing for the municipality was we didn't want to make it permanently into the ground there because obviously after the celebration, who knows what will happen. So Public Works offered to construct the base out of concrete, however heavy it needs to be so that somebody can't move it around or anything like that. So we just thought it would be a good location there. The base can sit there, people will be able to move around it, bikes and things like that. So it shouldn't be an issue at all from that standpoint.
The bell itself weighs about 75 pounds. So if it's on that slab of concrete, then it becomes much harder to move around. But if you would want to relocate it to an indoor location, say you'd want to move it to the library or something like that after 26, if you guys own it, you can do whatever you want with it. You can move it here if you would like to do that. So, and I will tell you, the bell that is at the Westmoreland will probably move at the end of 26. Just because that's an art museum and they have some constraints about how long they keep things on exhibit and so forth. So that one will be moving, although to be determined where it's going to live. And then the only other thing I put in your packet, and I just put this just to kind of get it on your radar, we're going to have a number of initiatives, and you'll be hearing a lot from me in the next 6 months. Not necessarily at meetings, but in mail and emails. But we are also starting a Laurel Highlands Heritage Trail with historical markers. And we've partnered with the William G. Pomeroy Foundation, which is a charitable trust in upstate New York, that you can write a grant to get a historical marker. So I just put that on your radar in case there are any locations you would like to get a marker for. They're beautiful metal markers. And our intention is to eventually create a 3-county historical trail for the markers. So that would be in Westmoreland, Fayette, and Somerset, our whole Laurel Highlands footprint. Wow. And aside from that, we have some other programs coming that I will let you know about as they roll out.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's all great. And I think we should definitely coordinate with one of the nonprofits to make sure somebody gets that credit. Probably the trail, but whoever, just to ensure that even if we're going to be the ultimate owner, one of our local 501c3s gets that $1,000. So thank you so much for being here. It was really exciting.
Yeah.
It's good news.
So, Michael, if you just let me know who to send the contract to for
You can do that. Yeah, I know you've been working with Carly. She would probably be the best
person, the contact. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay. That brings us to 9B tonight, which is going to be a discussion of the disc golf proposal. Michael?
Sure. And again, I can kick things off here. And we also have an individual here that can kind of present more of the information and background about this project. But this project actually kicked off through the rec department by a 13-year-old resident, James Burke, who had suggested to the rec department the installation of a disc golf course. And that kind of kicked off the discussion. And he referenced the 2017 comp plan, or the parks plan, which did discuss the addition of a disc golf course coming at some point in time. So obviously that was kind of rounded and shaped by the community who provided feedback toward that comp plan, that planning process. And so once he kind of gave his pitch to the rec department, I guess it was a pretty compelling pitch. They started to have some discussion, and it seemed like it gathered a lot of support, not only in the Rec Commission, but also in the Parks and Rec Foundation as well. And so from there, they really kind of dove into the concept and explored the possibility of a disc golf course and everything that entails, from the cost to the location and ongoing maintenance and things like that. Once the Parks and Rec Foundation kind of expressed their interest in supporting the project, the potential for a source of funding came about to kind of kick things off. It's estimated that the overall project, the entire disc golf course, would be somewhere between the range of $50,000 to $70,000. And again, there is a source of funds through the foundation to be able to absorb some or all of that cost. So staff began meeting with Dan Flanagan, who is a disc golf course designer. He designed the disc golf course in North Huntington, as well as others in this area and in other states, all throughout kind of the eastern part of the country. So he has a pretty good resume of designing courses, everything from wooded courses to park courses, and all different types in between. So staff has been meeting with him. The rec department has met with him many times to discuss the space that's needed in the park and the cost, the installation, and what that entails. We are looking at using a parcel of land across from MCP behind the wetlands area. And that's the area between Farm and Bollinger Road. And that is essentially an unused parcel for the most part. There is some scout activity that takes place there. There are some minor walking trails, even some horse trails in that area. But by and large, it's mostly an unused parcel. And so we think that a disc golf course, which would be considered a wooded course, would be a great fit in that location. There would be minimal removal of any trees, maybe some brush clearing and things like that, but minimal removal of trees. Certainly any old growth trees or anything like that would stay intact. That would kind of be adding to the appeal of the forest course. And so that's kind of a little bit of a rundown. I think Mr. Flanagan is here and certainly willing to kind of speak to council and give a little bit of a presentation. Again, I have his presentation here that I passed out a packet to all of council. And again, I apologize for not being able to put up on the screen. So Carly can help us as well. And Carly's been in contact with Mr. Flanagan most of the way through, so I'm sure she can add any additional commentary as well. But it's okay, I'll turn it over to you for...
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, my name's Dan Flanagan. I'm a disc golf course designer. I'm a professional disc golfer with the Professional Disc Golf Association. I instruct. I'm a community builder within disc golf, so that means I run tournaments, leagues, all a fancy way to say I hang out in the woods and throw frisbees a lot. If you want to go ahead and flip over to the next slide, please. I'm going to keep this pretty high-level overview in the interest of respecting your time. Disc golf is an extremely fast-growing sport, and it has been on an extremely upward trajectory since COVID. You're going to hear me reference UDisc a couple of times throughout this presentation. UDisc is an app that we use as disc golfers to track scores in rounds. It has like a GPS map functionality that allows us to move through a course and have a map that says this is how far away from the basket you are, so on and so forth. But it also gives us excellent stats of usage with disc golf. So that's not a perfect depiction because UDisc became popular in like 2018, but you can clearly see with 20 million plus rounds last year, it's still a quickly growing sport. The other great thing about disc golf courses is they are awesome multi-use facilities. It's not just disc golfers that use these areas. A disc golf course, when you really look at it, is just an amazing trail through the woods. So birders, horticulturalists, I've seen a lot of RC cars. That's kind of a growing thing out there. Just trail users in general. It's a great facility to have within the park. So I'm not going to dive too far into the process of designing a disc golf course. You can see on the map there what we've basically done so far is gone through and evaluated the property. And the way I do that is I just work through piece by piece, walking the property and looking at the terrain and what's available there to make sure it's suitable for a disc golf hole and has the variety of shot shapes that we need to challenge a player. So I guess if you've had any Sasquatch sightings, it's probably me just bouncing around in the woods back there. Moving on. So the process of getting a disc golf course into the ground is relatively straightforward. After the design process, we move into clearing. And when I say clearing, what we're doing is going after underbrush. We're trying to get to the kind of like hardscape of what exists within a disc golf course, and that's the old growth trees and stuff like that throughout the park. After we're through with clearing, we move on to target install. We put those targets in the ground and allow people to start playing the course. And what that does is allow us to calibrate the course at a time where it's very little expense to change things around a little bit if we need to. If we start to see issues with this ending up in places we didn't expect or a safety issue arises, it allows us to make adjustments within the course before we're talking about busting up concrete or moving signs or anything like that. The last thing that we do after that is that final part of tee installation, which are cement pads in this area is kind of the gold standard of tees, and then our signage package comes in behind that, which is, you know, typical to a traditional golf course. Just signage that says this is how long the hole is, this is out of bounds description for the holes. Normally it has a brief description on how to get to the next hole, but then also includes wayfinding and then safety signage. So if you had a trail that intersected a disc golf hole, something that says caution flying disc. So the general public using the same area has a little bit of awareness of what's going on out there. So this is just kind of a visual representation of what I'm talking about from a wooded course. The two bottom pictures are actually from courses that I've designed, and then the top one is just a picture that I grabbed off the internet. But you can see by looking at these pictures, you know, the large old growth trees stay. And best described, these are amazing trails through the woods. They're pretty low impact environmentally to the areas that we use. God bless you. Yeah, they're just excellent scenic trails. So this is, again, I just wanted to show you guys, when we go after clearing, you can see it's undergrowth, the big trees stay. It really, the only time that I'm taking out a tree that's larger than like 4 inches in diameter is if it's already dead and could pose a safety issue down the line of it falling just on park users and stuff like that. So ongoing maintenance is always a question, and for a wooded course, it's relatively low. The canopy of the trees really helps us with that. It keeps grass from, you know, growing quickly. So for a wooded course, you're really looking at seasonal maintenance, and seasonal just being spring, summer, and fall. Spring is probably the most extensive maintenance when you're going through clearing any deadfall from the winter. Light trimming in the summer would be just beating back the growth that comes in right at the beginning of the year. And then, you know, the occasional storm will cause some deadfall that we need to clear. And then fall would just be kind of the same thing, getting sticks and stuff like that off the path. One of the other advantages of disc golf is that the community that will surround your course adopts your course, and they become very proud of it. Generally speaking, a joint operating agreement with the Parks Department between them and their local club gets established, where they kind of give them a parameter of like, hey, no chainsaws in our woods, or no operating heavy machinery, but if you wanted to come out and volunteer time and clean up things on your course, you're welcome to do so. And that typically happens around events too. So disc golf courses host tournaments, leagues, stuff like that. And part of hosting a tournament as the local group of home course people, they want it to shine. So typically when you have one of those events with a little bit of revenue that comes with it, also gets a lot of volunteer hours out on your course to get it cleaned up. That picture right there is actually that whole entire retaining wall. That was all donated, and that's all volunteer labor that put that in. That just happened a couple of months ago. So just briefly on like what makes a great disc golf course, paramount is safety, making sure that other park users and players using the course are in a safe place. Shot variety, using high quality targets. Not all baskets are created equal. Some of the lower quality baskets don't have the same ability to catch a disc that tournament caliber baskets do. And then your tees and signage are really the parts outside of the course design that makes you look like a high quality professional amenity. Talking about shot variety, I know that some of the exposure to disc golf is really low. This is just one disc manufacturer's line of discs, and all the different shot shapes, just the different discs will fly. The typical tournament player will carry about 20 different discs in their bag, all meant to do different things. And to actually compound this further, so all of that is a depiction. If I threw that disc with my right hand in a backhand format, that whole entire mat flips over if I throw it in a forehand format. So just looking at that kind of gives you an idea of all the different types of things a disc can do in the air. Right. Looking at disc golf amenities, these are some of the things that will set a disc golf course apart from another disc golf course. Elevated baskets, that top left one's at one of my courses in Michigan, Oshtemo. It's just a really nice feature. It adds a level of play to the disc golf course where, a basket that's at eye level, when you raise it up and throw a disc at it, if you miss it, it goes flying way past it rather than just land next to it. Features like that wall that's down at Winthrop Gold where they play USDGC, the United States Championship, every year. But there's a lot of cool things that you can do with the disc golf course, and I think are capable here in Murraysville to be able to do some unique things like these to set your disc golf course apart. And the last thing I pulled up there is some numbers, and I just pulled these stats off of Oak Hollow because it's the closest course to here. So in the 3 years that it's been in the ground, over 13,000 rounds tracked in UDisc. Again, these are just your average disc golfers. So for every one of these rounds, or I'd say maybe for every 2 of these rounds, there's probably another round of just a casual disc golfer who doesn't track their rounds and is just out there for fun. So there's heavy usage. Those bottom two graphs you can take a look at are tourism from the trailing 52 weeks. So you can see we've attracted players from almost better than 3/4 of the lower 48 in some areas internationally, and you can get some idea of player distance travel there too. Before Oak Hollow went in the ground, unless you'd been to a graduation party or something that forced you there, maybe a soccer game, you didn't know that park was there if you weren't from the area. Now we have players traveling in regularly from over near Cranberry to come play leagues. When we host tournaments there, we're bringing players in from Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, It really is an attraction. And if you ask the local businesses around there, they would definitely tell you they've seen usage from disc golfers. And that's about it. I open up to any questions that you guys have about this. I was just trying to give you a high-level overview of what's available.
Council? Thoughts? How long are these courses?
In total, so we measure our holes in feet in disc golf. The actual hole length is normally right around 7,000 feet for a blue tee level course, which is an advanced player course, and drops down to about 6,000 when you get to the intermediate level. So walking length, just using Oak Hollow again because it's nearby, it's about 3 miles.
Okay. And how many
Is the
holes
disc-
typically? Oh,
Go ahead.
How many holes typically? Is
18 holes, and typically there's 2 practice baskets for warming up.
Does the disc have to go in the basket?
Yeah, so it has to come to rest within the basket, and the typical way to make a shot is to throw a disc into the chains that then settles into the cage of the basket.
Well, one picture you showed on your slide presentation, and thank you, that was very good. It showed the elevated basket, I guess.
Yep.
There are steps going up to it. Any liability issues with that if somebody goes up there and falls down? Or
So that particular, I think in some situations that may be a liability issue. That particular course is on private property. You have to sign a waiver to play that particular course. I don't foresee a giant tree stump stair basket. When I use elevated baskets in my course design, it's something that you can reach into from the ground and grab it.
thank you.
My question might be maybe answered better by you, Michael. So 50 to 70,000 to construct the course, you said was mostly by donation, and some of the, you had said there was a survey in 2017, which I've brought up many, many times because the only people that they surveyed in that were people that used the parks. And so I say that's an invalid survey. We need to survey everybody in the community, not just people that use the parks, to see that that's something that they want. But my question is, I know you'd said that there was a joint with the JOA to take care, but what would be the recurring cost? Once it's all set up, the 50,000 to 70,000 is gone, what would it cost the municipality to maintain it? I know I walk Duff Park every day. I know that's a lot to maintain when trees fall down and things like that. So if we're adding another amenity to the community that's in a wooded area, we have another 100-year storm, whatever it is, we have tons, what's
Sure,
our cost on that?
And just to be sure, I can't say for certain, but I don't want to be mistaken. I believe that the concept of the disc golf came from the parks plan itself, not the comp plan. But just so I believe we're on the same page. But nonetheless, to your question, that is something that we've given thought to. So the $50,000 to $70,000 would be the initial install. That would be the tee boxes and the baskets and all the work that goes into kind of creating the course. As far as ongoing maintenance, obviously we don't have a defined cost, but the expectation is that outside of, I guess, a potential storm event where trees might come down, things like that, the expectation is probably only, as he mentioned, seasonally, we would have a crew of maybe a few public works employees going out to do brush work or things like that. Very minimal ongoing maintenance throughout the year. Now, certainly, if there's a storm event, something like we just had recently, and trees come down, then obviously we would have to consider, removing that and keeping things in order and safe for the community to be able to go out there. I know that's happened in other scenarios. I've talked to Dan about that. Certainly we can't account for that, but we would expect that would occur from time to time. And so we would have Public Works go out, and if they have to, again, clear trees and remove any impediments, they could do that. The nice thing about the wooded course, as compared to some of the other courses that the pictures were shown or even mentioned, we won't have to clear out and remove trees and pull them out of the park and do things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a wooded area. So if, we may only have to remove the impediment on the actual path where they're walking down. And I'm sure you can maybe add to that a little bit on what your experience is like with other wooded courses and doing that sort of storm removal and storm upkeep, things like that, for unexpected circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. The last storm that blew through took down some substantial trees in Oak Hollow. One of the things that we did there was we just shut down the course for a couple of days to allow, the community to catch up, and then we moved on to those things. The ongoing maintenance that would be considered maybe bi-weekly would be emptying some trash cans that would be convenient to the course. And typically, it would just be like near parking lots and easily accessible areas, so it would just match up to your existing trash removal of the park. As far as like mowing and things of that nature, again, I think for a wooded course, we're talking about seasonally 1 to 2 guys one day in each one of the seasons with equipment.
Okay. And then I have one more, sorry, Carl, can I just?
Go ahead, yeah.
So my other question is, how many disc golfers do we have here in Murraysville?
I can't say that I know that answer. I think without having a course, I don't know whether we have statistics for that.
How many
The
would
statistics
be
present-
disc
Seems like a lot of
golfers are
money
there?
without knowing
Here.
what we have. Do you play disc golf, Carl?
No, I'm a would-be.
Okay. I love the woods too, but.
Yeah, I think
okay.
the best statistics we
would-be
can use
player.
is probably what they're doing in Oak Hollow, and that's this the last slide on the page where you can kind of see the play count. They didn't have, we didn't really have disc golf in this area, I don't think, until that course was installed. Is that the only one that's kind of local to?
Next closest course would be Monroeville East, and that actually, that was just a 9-hole course until after Oak Hollow was installed. Next closest to that would be Deer Lakes Park. And I can provide some usage stats for any of those courses, but it's very high.
I guess my question is, are we creating this course for Murraysville residents, or are we creating it for people outside of Murraysville?
I mean, I would say that it's probably a combination. If anything, it's providing another amenity to the community, and certainly anybody outside of the community would be using it, able to use it as well, no different than our parks or trail system. So I think we probably view it in that same light. The goal would be to try to attract Murraysville residents. Now, the little bit of feedback that we've gotten, obviously there are a number of folks that are aware of the concept, being that there are folks on the Park Foundation, the Park Board, things like that. Sounds like there's a lot of positive feedback toward it. It sounds like it would be a draw to people in the area that maybe have never considered disc golf. I know, again, I would be one example of that where I've never considered it, but after hearing all about it, it sounds like a pretty neat concept, and certainly could draw people in from the community, and I would expect that it would. But we certainly don't have stats on that. I mean, at the end of the day, it was something that was mentioned in the park study roughly 10 years ago. The community did speak, toward that as far as an amenity they would want to see in the park. Whether or not the surrounding community wants to see other improvements or infrastructure improvements, throughout. When it comes down to a park study, even of park users, that's the feedback that we got, is that would be something of interest. And again, we thought it was actually a relatively low cost, considering that it doesn't require too much ongoing maintenance. It's a one-time upfront cost that's substantial, and it's using an area of the community that we don't really generate much usage now, so it kind of seemed to fit in that regard.
Well, it definitely seems like something my son would probably like to go and do.
You absolutely already have Murraysville residents who are competing in tournaments right now and leagues.
So how do you make a reservation or tee time? And secondly, is there a cost to do a round of golf? And what's a time, how long does it take to complete a round of golf?
Yeah, so disc golf, by and large, is a free amenity for people to utilize outside of competition. There are a handful of courses that are popping up on private properties that are, destination courses that are charging like $10 to go out and play their course now. There is no reservation necessary. You show up, and if there's a line at the first tee, wait. Free to play. Once you own your equipment, that's one of the things that makes disc golf so approachable, is that after you own your equipment, the cost of entry is pretty much gas to get there, and, water while you're on the course.
And typical length, how long does it take typically?
About 2 hours. If I'm playing by myself, and I'm not looking for a lot of this typically, so that can change things around a little bit. I can get through my home course in about an hour and a half.
And maybe this is to Michael, so is there a 19th hole somewhere?
Yes, so maybe Helltown down the road there.
My guess is Helltown would be that, yeah.
And that was a question that we had for Dan during this speculation process, is to ask about the tournaments and things like that. So there are courses that do host tournaments when that does occur. As Dan kind of explained to us, typically the disc golf community is aware of that event taking place. So certainly if there were to be a tournament here in Murraysville at our course, and the course is, booked for that particular Saturday or weekend or whatever it may be, typically the community of disc golf players is aware of that, likely participating. So the only drawback to that is if somebody from the general public went up that day, maybe they aren't able to get on the course. But as he mentioned, it's a free course to play, and if you show up, chances are you're just going to be able to start your round. So other than those few times a year where there might be a tournament hosted, and again, there are logistics behind whether we would choose to do that and how that would play out. But other than those a couple occasions, it seems like it's a pretty accessible sport to participate in. No reservations necessary. No different than the pickleball courts or a tennis court somewhere in the community.
Dan, have you found advertisements at the various locations, the various holes or poles?
There's definitely, that's not really like course sponsored. So there's courses that kind of crowdfund their courses and their signage, and you would have the opportunity to sponsor a hole sign or sponsor a hole by purchasing a basket, and that's the way people have chosen to fund a course. In those cases, you see logos and things like that posted on there. The only, I would say the only caveat to that is typically there's an information board at the beginning of the course that would host things like information about leagues, upcoming tournaments, stuff like that. That would be kind of the only advertising I think would fit within that.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns from council?
There was a guy in the back.
Oh, sir, yeah.
Yes, Eric, you mentioned concrete piece. Are there other options that would be a little less process in a park environment?
Yeah, sure. The question was, are there other options for tees? So in other areas of the country that don't experience the freeze thaw, there are turf tees, like AstroTurf type tees, that do get utilized. In our area, it's not very conducive. Disc golf does get played year-round in this area, whether there's snow on the ground or not. And what typically will happen is those turf tees will pack out with snow, and then the freeze thaw will cause them to break apart. The other option that some courses choose to utilize is just using dirt and mulch. In a low traffic setting on an extremely short course where there's not a lot of run up and movement within, like throwing the disc, those can work. But anytime there's any kind of moisture, and with the amount of traffic that I think that you guys will see through your course, I do think that the concrete tee is going to be your best option to avoid erosion issues and things like that.
In-depth answer, thank you. That sounds wonderful to me. Any final thoughts from council? Okay.
It's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
I think, if I may, Mr. President, the only feedback that I think maybe staff is looking for is whether council has a level of interest in the concept in order to keep exploring it. Certainly, we are to the point now where there's been discussion about foundation funding, whether we seek donations, things like that. There are some things that we have to work out as far as parking, as you heard mentioned, waste baskets and other things on the course, and kind of mapping out the whole locations, things like that. So before we get to any of that, I guess staff would want to hear feedback from council as to whether you want to consider something like this, or whether there's anything that we need to kind of investigate further. Certainly, we know we have a lot of work to do ahead of us, but we don't want to continue down that path if there is opposition or any hesitancy, I guess, from council.
I think I heard it said that you think you can get the foundation to cover this for the most part?
Yes, and I will mention one other aspect of that, and I don't mean to interrupt your thought. There was discussion about where some of the funding comes from. The foundation does have a set of funds. One particular donation that came into the foundation was from Berkshire Hathaway Energy, and that was for the amphitheater project. We contacted them. They are agreeable to reallocate the funds. There are a few other donors that have contributed to the foundation in the past. There was discussion in the past about some of those funds being used for the amphitheater. As we all know, that project was kind of put on pause, or whatever the status may be right now. So again, I just want to clear up any confusion, because I know in the briefing I mentioned that possibly reallocating amphitheater funds. The only specific set of funds that the foundation are holding was the $10,000 BHE donation. Other donations were from Olympus, Dominion, and those weren't specifically allocated to the amphitheater, but rather to park projects based on their own, I guess, development contributions. So again, just to kind of make that clear to council, because I know there was some feedback about that, and even the mayor was inquiring over the past week. Obviously, he's not here today, but he wanted to clear up some confusion there as well. So I just want to be sure that everybody's aware of the source of funds. But yes, the foundation does have funding that would be available for this project. Certainly, the municipality could contribute in addition to their funding. And again, it's kind of, again, to what extent do we want to engage in this project and build out the potential course if we get to that point, so.
I guess my vote would be, it sounds like a pretty low-cost way to add a pretty cool amenity to our community. I mean, if the price tag is around $50,000 to $70,000, and we can get a lot of that from grants and donations, that's pretty awesome. But council, thoughts?
I think anything that gets people outside and moving is a good idea, and especially if the recurring costs are low. That's to me something that has to be.
Using a part of the municipality that's essentially unused right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, there's also activities that, I think Franklin Regional has a Frisbee football team, as a club, so that's becoming more and more, present, so. Yeah.
And it's, again, not to kind of belabor it, but as you can see, it's all, in some ways, very minimal installation as well. Certainly concrete tee boxes, if there are 18 of them located throughout the course, whatever it may be. But other than that, if this area of land were ever to be used for something else down the road, again, certainly we don't want to make an investment and then pull that out. But if something else came about where this parcel of ground became a concept for another project, it's not a terribly significant investment to uproot if we wanted to relocate in any way. And again, I don't think that would be the plan, but we're not putting any structures or buildings or facilities in there, or utilities or anything like that. It's very low maintenance and low level improvement, I guess.
And anybody could walk that and not play it, right?
Sure.
I mean, you don't have to actually BYOF, BYOD, bring your own disc, bring your own Frisbee, bring your own walking shoes.
And that is some of the feedback we've gotten, is that people who use it just
So
for
it's like
walking
just another
trails.
trail, so
Yeah, sure.
definitely.
No golf carts though, right?
Yeah, man. Old school.
Unless you bring your own, Carl.
Who's going to caddy for you, Carl?
So, again, if council seems to be interested in the idea, I think then we can kind of take it to the next step of exploring the project and report back with more information.
Sounds wonderful.
That would be helpful, more information.
Sure.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, that brings us to our action items this evening. We'll begin with 13A. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to adopt resolution number 800-25, a resolution of the municipality of Murraysville supporting the Pennsylvania Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial America 250 PA.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Jamie and Carl. Michael, you want to give just a small introduction?
Sure, yes, and this, again, kind of overlaps with the Bell project that we just heard about. So there's a nationwide celebration of America's 250, and Westmoreland County In fact, the state is asking all 65 or 67 counties to adopt support for the America 250, and in turn, Westmoreland County then is asking all 65 municipalities in the county to pass resolutions in support of America's 250th. So this will be Murraysville expressing support for the America 250 PA, which is a statewide initiative to celebrate the United States and Pennsylvania's role within it for the 250th anniversary. So we've been asked by both state and county officials to adopt the resolution, and other neighboring municipalities have already done so as well.
Huh? Sounds wonderful. Council, thoughts, concerns? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 13A is approved. We do have a 13B in regards to the library board appointment. Jason, would you like to make that motion?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, and so the individual is Lisa Intrieri Fellner, is seeking appointment to the library board. That term ends on December 31st, 2026.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to appoint Lisa Fellners to the Murraysville Community Library Board for a term ending December 31st, 2026.
Perfect.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Jason and Matt. Any questions or concerns about the library board appointment? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 13B is unanimous. Michael, let's try to let Lisa know so maybe she can be there on Thursday. Thank you.
Do that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That brings us to 14A. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion, consider approval of the Petracca subdivision, S425, a subdivision plan containing 3 total lots and 21.95 acres on Jones Farm Court in the RR zoning district.
Thank you, Carl and Eli. Michael, any description?
Sure, yes, I can give you a little bit of a rundown. There are 3 subdivisions here that we're looking at. All of them are, I guess, relatively minor subdivisions, have all gone through the planning process. This particular one that's in consideration is a 3-lot subdivision to adjust the lot lines between 2 different tax parcels and create a new lot from both of those parcels. The total acreage is of each parcel is 11.5 acres and 10.45 acres. The new subdivision, one of the parcels will be 13 acres, another one will be 7.3, and then a last parcel will be 1.5 acres. So currently each parcel contains 1 residence and an accessory building. So this has gone through Planning Commission. Staff has reviewed it. Each has recommended approval for this item. And all comments regarding any technical adjustments have all been addressed by the applicant. So everything's ready to go on this.
Wonderful. Pretty straightforward subdivision. Any questions or concerns from council? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, 14A is unanimous. That brings us to 14B. Can I have a motion, please?
Yeah, motion to consider approval of the Hughes subdivision S5-25, a subdivision plan containing 2 total lots of 5.778 acres on Chisnell Lane in the RR zoning district.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Eli and Carl. I think this is in the same vein as the last one, Michael, just another very simple subdivision.
Yes, and I apologize to council for not being able to display the maps, which kind of give you the visual. But again, this is even more straightforward than the last one. This is a single parcel being subdivided out, so 5.77 acres, and after the subdivision, it'll be 3.7 and 2 acres respectively, reviewed by Planning Commission on July 8th. And again, just like the last one, all staff and planning recommend approval, and the applicant has addressed all concerns.
Okay. Council, questions or concerns? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 14B is unanimous. Can I have a motion for 14C, please?
A motion to consider approval for the Compton subdivision S-26-25, a subdivision plan containing 2 total lots of 0.94 acres on Mayor Drive in the R2 zoning district.
Okay, another pretty simple subdivision. Michael, anything to add or?
Yep, just a single parcel. It's .94 acres, and they're going to be equally divided out into 2 lots of .47 acres. And just noting that this is a re-subdivision of 2 parcels that were consolidated. So they were previously consolidated, now they're pulling them back apart.
Is it the same lines?
I believe so, yes. Yep. So not quite sure if that was prompted by change of ownership, but I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken, it is the same lines as it previously was. Nonetheless, again, recommended for approval by the Planning Department and Planning Commission.
Okay, seeing no comments from staff in the briefing, any questions or concerns from council?
Do you know the background, why they would want to do that?
Can't say that I know that offhand, and I might have it in the briefing.
I don't see it, and it's not like they have to tell us that.
No, it's just,
It's
I
interesting.
may have that handy if you just give me one moment. I apologize. Maybe
They
list.
did not talk about that at the planning meeting.
You said they did not?
No.
Okay, then that may not be in here as well. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can get you that.
That's okay.
But I don't have it now, so
Okay,
that impacts your vote.
no, that's fine.
I apologize.
okay, curiosities aside, any questions or concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, everyone. That brings us to 15A. Can I have a motion?
Motion to adopt resolution number 801-25, a resolution approving an application for a multimodal transportation fund grant for the acquisition and installation of a new adaptive system along the Route 22 corridor.
Second motion.
Go, Jamie and Matt. Michael, you want to?
Yes, I think this is one is be of interest to the community, but we're applying for a grant through Commonwealth Financing Authority, $626,000. And this is to update the adaptive system, meaning the traffic light system that synchronizes on the highway. And I'm sure most folks are aware we have issues from time to time popping up at different intersections, and as soon as we get something fixed, then the next intersection is down. And I think we became accustomed to being able to go up and down the highway rather smoothly, and lately, unfortunately, it hasn't been as smooth. The system that we currently have is called the Rhythm system. It's been in place for over 12 years, and unfortunately, I think it's kind of run its course. We have a very difficult time working with that company to get updates, to get to do technical, resolve technical issues. And many communities are moving away from this Rhythm system. A lot of the communities purchased this system around the same time that we did, but they're really moving away from it, including PennDOT is kind of not recommending the Rhythm system anymore. So we're looking for a grant to try to offset some or all of the cost of rehabbing this or revising this system. So it is anticipated that if we do receive the full amount of the grant, it will fund 70% of the overall cost, which is, again, close to around a $900,000 to $1 million project overall. But, so it's a pretty heavy-duty cost. But we've gotten feedback from PennDOT that there are a lot of grant funds available for these systems. Many municipalities are changing, including Monroeville, who was on the Rhythm system with us, and now they've moved to a new provider as well. Any questions? How many intersections is that covering? Geez, I can't say that I know offhand, but it would be the Route 22 corridor from Manor Mellon Road all the way down to Vincent Hall, Trafford Road.
Hey, but I mean, obviously, the more money we can get, the better. Any questions or concerns from council?
How soon can we get it?
Yeah.
We do have funding set aside in the CIP for replacement of the current system, but certainly not to the extent that it needs to be replaced. we keep parts in stock. We get out there, we're still not getting the repairs done the way that we need them to in the system. As I'm sure council has gotten calls and feedback from the community, we keep running into issues. Processors are dying out, we're buying new ones, we're investing in a system that's kind of, I guess, a little bit outdated. So I think it'll be a significant improvement if we can get a grant and get the system back to where it should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Okay, any final questions or concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you, everyone. Too quick. That brings us to 15B. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion to authorize the advertisement of DPW-7-25, the Murraysville Library Sidewalk Reconstruction Project.
Second the motion?
Thank you, Jamie and Carl. Pretty self-explanatory. We're going to advertise for the sidewalks at the library. Any questions or concerns? Again, this is just the advertisement. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 15B is unanimous. Any old or new business from anyone this evening? Okay. No executive session, no action items. Can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Thank you, Jamie and Matt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everybody.